So, Ron, there is this phrase that we use in psychology. It's called triangulation,
Mm,
which is a fancy way in the context of a blended family. It's a fancy way of saying, hey, there's messages that are getting sent that aren't always direct. Often, one spouse sending a message to another spouse through a child. And that is not a healthy thing.
mm.
What do you do if you are on the receiving end of that? Let's start there. You are a spouse that's getting these messages from the child that you know is coming from the ex-spouse. What do you do about that?
Yeah, it's really tempting, I think, for what we call co-parents, former partners who share a child together who are not living together anymore. It's really tempting to communicate through the child. Hey, tell your mom when you're there this weekend, blah blah blah.
Right.
It's tempting because that means I don't have to deal with mom.
Yeah.
But all that does is burden the child. I cannot emphasize this enough. Children become not only messengers, but they carry the anxiety of the message with them. I mean, they know what's going on between, they know you guys don't get along. They know you don't like each other. They know you're telling them this with, contempt in your eyes as you communicate the message. And they feel the anxiety of that. They internalize that. When you say something negative about your child's other parent in the other home, you are saying it to your child and they internalize it about themselves. You just have to know that's what's going on. It's a losing game for your kids.
Yeah.
It is far more effective and important for you. Now, you're good. It was a good question, Les. You just said, what do you do if you're on the receiving end? The child's coming to your place and they're bringing these messages.
Right.
Well, I got a couple thoughts. First of all, try to be proactive to communicate with the other home that you're available and that you're here to talk, and you're going to be businesslike in how you go about that. Think of yourself as, in a like a corporation, and you're trying to be a good business partner to whoever it is you're doing business with. Like, that's how you posture yourself. That might help a little bit. Try to set up regular times to communicate. Sometimes folks decide to let the step parent be the one who communicates with the other home. That one's a little risky. Some people say, no way, that'll never work for us. Other people say, yeah, that was a pretty good solution. Now, all of those things are pretty straightforward suggestions, but here's the thing, Les. Somebody's watching right now and they're going, no way, none of that is going to work because the other person won't stop doing what they're doing. We've already
Right.
tried that. In
Right.
that case, I want to suggest something a little more direct. Can you imagine, say, a dad, a former husband, calling his former wife and saying to her, look, you and I, we've tried to work around this for a while. I know you would never intentionally try to hurt our kids, but I have to let you know that when you communicate to me through them, it does hurt their kids. I see it. I see it in their eyes. We've talked about it. I know you're not trying to hurt them. I know you're just trying to communicate with me, but please stop. Now,
Right.
that's a more direct approach, and it really gets at what might help give the other person some motivation, and that is the harm that it's bringing to the child. Sometimes that helps, sometimes it doesn't. I got one more thought. In some cases, I've coached people, and they found this to be helpful, where imagine this dad saying to his child, look, when your mom tells you, tell your dad this. Respond by saying, I understand that you want me to do this, but dad won't respond to the messages that you send through me. You need to contact him yourself.
Hmm.
Now, some kids can pull that off.
Yeah.
Not every child can. Depends on their age, depends on their ego strength. That's a tough one. You're trying to take the weight of that, but still the child has to deliver that message. So it's really be cautious, be careful. If your child can't manage that, don't burden them with it. But sometimes that's helpful.
Yeah.
You got to send the message somehow. Hey, I just don't cooperate with this sort of communication. You need to talk with me directly, and I'm available, and I'm happy to try to work with you.
Triangulation, never healthy
Mm.
between different parties of communication, but especially in a blended family where a child is being used as that messenger that has to be curbed. So, Ron, as always, thanks for your wisdom on Loveology.